Good morning, everybody. So we have a little bit of a kind of a continuance of that micro pullback, bit of a bearish one because you're building up towards the low of yesterday. So we had a bit wide D shape yesterday. You closed pretty weak. You closed right on that low. You're also closing into this lower tail here. So it is protecting that lower tail a little bit. You can see the buyers coming in, trying to push it back into value. But if we stay below this value, basically the overlap of Monday and Tuesday, if we stay below that, then you're pushing that lower tail back to that overnight low and possibly back to the gap as well. If we can stay pushing into that value, then you're mostly just rotating either Tuesday or Monday, basically the same level. But that's the most important thing to look for at the open here, is how well do we respond to that value of yesterday. Does it look like we want to push and rotate back into yesterday, or is it constantly finding that sell pressure and pushing back into that lower tail? And obviously we have FOMC at 2 p.m. and the press conference at 2:30. Same exact story on NASDAQ here. So you're pushing into that lower tail. The difference is yesterday was very weak on NQ. It sold off pretty rapidly. So you actually finished that tail retrace on NASDAQ. So now it's more so a gap fill pushing down into that rollover and that Sunday gap, basically the same level, right? So if we find a lot of value on the open, we're trying to rotate yesterday back to 908, possibly a breakout. If they find a lot of sell pressure, then they are rejecting this kind of single print area and pushing back down into that gap. Now, you really want it to be kind of sideways before the FOMC, but if it does pick a direction, you would rather that direction be to the downside because that is towards the weekly open. Failing VWAP right before the open on ES, but you're nowhere near VWAP on NQ. It is actually trading above it. So once again, another morning where our VWAPs are not the same. Okay, rejecting VWAP. Looks like that sell pressure on ES is leading the market for now. Anything else on the calendar today? Let me see here. We had retail sales this morning, 0.8 over 0.6 and 0.9 over 0.5. Trump is speaking at 9:30. I believe that's the G7. It is. Business inventories at 10 o'clock, and then we have FOMC at 2, press conference at 2:30. So that is the calendar for today. A lot of sell pressure off VWAP here. Keep an eye on these lows. This is what I was talking about with the potential for that sell pressure to be rejecting, or I guess in this case it'd be protecting yesterday's values. So we're trying to push down into that lower tail. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Scott. Good morning, Brian. Music, Jay, Lubmir, Leo, Luis, Ken. Good morning, Night. Good morning, Banana. Barrage, Larry. Good morning, Blood. Good morning, Scott, Adam, Greg, Orion, AT. Good morning, Flory, Joseph, Roma, eBay, Sam, Brent, RC, Ronaldo, Julio. Good morning, Christian. Good morning, Roman. Good morning, Future, Typhoon, Leslie, Joan. Appreciate you guys being here. For the most part, today is kind of just a waiting day. You're kind of waiting for that 2 p.m. at least 2 p.m., maybe 2:30. That doesn't mean you can't trade. I'm just saying you need to be careful because that's kind of when the big events are. Looks like SpaceX had a little bit of a sell-off yesterday into the close, gapping up a little bit. If you guys are still watching that one. Want to retail rider? Yes, Trump is doing a G7 meeting right now. There might be some headlines coming out pretty soon. No headlines so far. Same as always. It's the Momo on the bottom and the OTS on the chart. The only different one is the Wick Sniper is the band. It's the same as the range bot. But yeah, same as always. Momo OTS. Bounce back into the 24 here. Keep it on the 24 and the VWAP. A lot of bullish delta into that 24. Good morning, Anthony. Buyers are not looking too good this morning. Failing VWAP right away. Back testing the 24 to check if we're trending. Failed that as well. Momentum showing a very small bear div into VWAP. So this little move right here was a bear div. Yeah, Brian, it's like less than 5%. Less than 5% of their shares are public. Everything else is still locked up. Which is a little bit low. It's not like highly unusual. It is a little bit low. Speaking of divergence, pretty big bull div on Delta here, pushing up. Delta's coming up pretty rapidly. You are absorbing a lot of bearish Delta on the low there. Yeah, I looked it up. I forgot what the number was, but the weighting is not that bad. I think people were overreacting to it. Traders overreacting? Who would have thought? Keep an eye on the 24 here. If it breaks that, you're looking for VWAP. Still no headlines from the G7. Here is that VWAP. That bull div is quickly finding buyers. You had a bull div on that absorption. Buyers are rapidly pushing into VWAP, so that would be a bad variation of VWAP here because they are just so damn bullish. Bull div on the Momo as well. So that was not only a divergence on Delta, it was a divergence on momentum. Your trail target has already been hit at 92. Dollar has been pretty flat the last few weeks, so we'll see if the FOMC can move it. Yields have been slowly coming down. Still seeing oil coming down pretty rapidly, down to 76. You're not at the start of the Iran war. That would be around 70 to 65. It is very, very close. So here you go. You're seeing why that is a bad variation to sell VWAP when it's so aggressive. You're easily breaking through VWAP here. And this is turning into more of a rotation going back into, it's actually right here. The rotation is complete. And then we have yesterday's value at 602. So we'll see if it can hold above that. If it cannot, then you're just going right back down anyway. If you're wondering what divergence looks like, that is pretty much a perfect example there. So you had a higher low on momentum. You had a lower low on price. Now this is a bit of a weird one because normally you do not want to use wicks. You want to use the candle bodies. But even if we use the candle bodies here, you could say that's an equal low or even like a very slight lower low. You do not want to use the wicks unless your indicator is using the wicks. Same thing over here. You can see lower low on price, higher low on delta, and then also right here, finally, you have a absorption that turned into a little bit of an exhaustion. So you had a lot of delta getting absorbed, but then you've barely pushed through it. But when you push through it, it got exhausted immediately. There was no volume there. So you had pretty much all the signs for a div there, lower low, higher low, and just a bonus, you had absorption as well. Keep it on that 602. Am I implying it will hold this level? Everything I just went over is already over. The bull div is already played out. So the bull div is not implying anything. Failing this pivot here, a little bit of a sweep on that pivot. Keep an eye on VWAP. So here is the other variation of VWAP. When you have an aggressive break of VWAP, you look out for a VWAP trap. We talk about that in the playbook. Is it a trap so far? No, because you're still holding above VWAP. I use the built-in one phase, the one that's built into TradingView. I don't use like a fancy one. The same one they have as their basically their default one. Same thing on Addis. I don't use a fancy one on Addis. It's just the built-in one. Yeah, you could say that's exhaustion. So now that you're losing VWAP and the 24, you're creating that trap. I saw a headline saying gold was rebounding back to 5,000. They really love to push these headlines. Gold is at 4,300 right now. Is it technically going back towards 5,000? Yes. But it's nowhere near 5,000. If it can hold back above 4,400, you still have that higher VWAP around like 4,800. Okay, so now you're having that chop where you're not agreeing on both VWAPs. You sold the session VWAP, but the market is buying the daily VWAP. I think headlines are starting to come out from the G7, so watch out for that. Good morning, Jay. Good morning, John. So this is kind of the this is what we were talking about earlier with like the wait and see, kind of waiting for the FOMC. A lot of indecision here. Both sides kind of fighting back and forth. We shouldn't have like a clear direction until the FOMC around 2 to 2:30. Which, by the way, as always, I will be streaming in the afternoon. It should be interesting. First FOMC with the new chairman. Still looks pretty weak here. It's trying to get below that daily VWAP. You're not seeing too many sellers below that VWAP. There are a lot of buyers trying to hold it up. It's also because it's just like the middle of the day. Okay, VWAP pushing you back down to the lows here. The VWAP trap, I should say. You had an aggressive break of VWAP and then you broke back through it. Back to where that absorption was earlier. We'll see if they can get some more sell pressure here. Want a Maverick? You know, also say that yeah, it's just a rotation. It is. Yep. Yeah, like I said, it's a D-shaped profile. You're just rotating back and forth until we hold below the value low. We're already bearish if you look at the big picture because our trade plan is 602, right? So we're already technically bearish, just holding below 602. But until we hold below today's value low, which is like, what, 85? You're just rotating. You need to hold below 85 or hold below 80 if you want to be more exact, because holding below 80 was a support. It was actually an old value level, very old value level, that acted as a really strong support yesterday. So if you hold below that, it should get pretty weak. But it's FOMC, so it's hard to say. But yes, that rotation to the downside is complete here. So are we going to stay below that value low? That VWAP trap is also complete. You guys gotta watch out because I've been getting a lot more emails about like brokers charging inactivity fees for all these like stock accounts that I used to have for my penny stock trading, like Webull, Robinhood, like whatever you name it, Charles Schwab, Thinkorswim, etc., etc., etc. I'm getting more and more emails saying like they're gonna start charging inactivity fees, which is kind of bullshit. But just check on that. You might have to go in and place a trade or just close the account. I just got one from Webull saying they're going to start charging $5 a month. I've been getting them from crypto exchanges as well, like KuCoin, like the old ones we used to use on stream all the time. Must be like a new regulation or something they're all hopping on. Yeah, Solo, that's a good question because the weekly open is a little bit strange this week. So technically it would be. Let me adjust for contract. Technically it would be like 43-ish if you adjust for the contract. Oh, that's actually where it shows it on here as well. Let me double check. Okay, so back adjust is actually not fixing that. So it's actually 480 is the weekly open. Yeah, that was a good question because of the the rollover. Yeah, technically it is 480. Bouncing off that 80 level here. Same level we talked about earlier. Good morning, Carrie. Yeah, I get why they're doing it, but it's like, it's just kind of lame. They're basically just going to make me close all my accounts. They're just going to lose me as a customer, pretty much. But in their eyes, they've already lost me as a customer. I'm not even using it. So they're like, yeah, whatever. Might as well just charge them. SpaceX is down. We'll take a look at it. Oh, that is not the ticker. What's the ticker again? There we go. Down to 193. Just filling in the gap from yesterday, it looks like. Still not a ton of 30-minute data, so we can't really do too much analysis there. But it is losing the trail. Yeah, I saw they were buying Cursor. Whatever Cursor is, I don't even know what that is. Trump is doing a press conference in 45 minutes. Same pattern we saw earlier. You have an absorption on that low there. You could even say there's a small bull div, but it's a little bit of a weird one because there's a lot of empty space in between. Typically not how we like to find them. Want to Ringo? Yeah, Alpha, that happens a lot, man. It just reminds me to think about levels as like boxes, right? Think about levels as like zones. Yes, we have seen it damn near to the tick, like constantly on VWAP or value levels or whatever. But even if it does that, you still want to think about it more as a zone and have a general idea of like, oh, if I wanted to get in early on VWAP, should I get in like around here, like 2 points early? If I wanted to get in a little late, like 2 points late. Like you should have a general idea of like what is comfortable around that level. Like obviously you don't want to be like front running by 10 points or 5 points or whatever. But you want to have a little bit of a zone around your levels. Yeah, it's not exactly a bear flag in a VWAP because it's not really super impulsive like creating the flagpole. It's more so just a pullback. It's kind of the same idea. But it's not like the very first break or anything. The best bear flag in a VWAP was actually like way back here. Because you had a very strong sell-off breaking VWAP, then a retest, and then a retest. So like these right here would have been the best because you had that very strong sell. So these are kind of bear flags in a VWAP, but not really. You're mostly just like pulling back into it. It's the same general trading idea, but it's just not as clean. Trump is speaking in about like 30 minutes, and then we have FOMC at 2 to 2:30. So definitely still a wait and see kind of day. You can see that slight bearish bias. We're still putting in lower highs, still putting in lower lows. Just not very aggressive. Yet again, that absorption is pushing us back into VWAP. Same thing we saw earlier. You had an absorption right here, which was right here at the time, and then it pushed it back into VWAP. Good morning, Michael. Good morning, Ollie. Good morning, Chevy. Yeah, Joseph, that the V shape and the cupping pattern definitely helps a lot. It's exactly what we talked about on the trap today. So because you were so aggressive in the VWAP, you're not looking for the immediate failure of VWAP. You're looking for more of a cupping trap where it re-loses VWAP. And that's exactly what it did, right? And that's on the playbook, the VWAP trap trade. But yeah, if it's sloppier, if it's a little bit choppy, you have more of a cupping pattern, that U-shaped pattern. If it's very aggressive, you have more of the V-shaped pattern. All right, no change here. Just doing the same thing over and over. Like I said, sound like a broken record, but this is exactly what it does on FOMC days. You're just rotating back and forth until something happens. So here is that value high. Here's that value low. That is about a 15-point rotation, which is pretty normal. That's not bad. There's that level that we had. And here's a great example. So you guys were asking me, like, when do I delete my levels? And I was talking about how I didn't want to delete these levels. There was another one, like, somewhere, I think it was, like, up here. And I said I didn't want to delete them until they were retested because we gapped into them. We didn't really get a true test of those levels. So I wanted to see a retest of those levels. So the first one was like somewhere around these lows. It was like somewhere around there. I can't remember where it was. But that one we deleted. And then this one we left here. And you can see that's why we left it there. Because it's still a strong level until you get that retest. So after today, I'm probably going to go ahead and delete it. Because we've already been testing it 2 major times. But this doesn't really count as a test because we just gapped up and then pushed through. We didn't really test it. And that level goes back to that really nasty sell-off day on Friday, June 5th. Yeah, that's why we don't delete levels like that. We want to give them at least a strong chance to use that level. For the most part, Joseph, it should be very obvious. Like if it's a V shape, it should be like these right here. They're just very obvious, right? They're very aggressive, pushing back up. And then like this one, you would not consider a V shape because it has so many candles trying to cause that reversal. So really it just comes down to like how many candles does it need to force that reversal. Like a good example is right here. It only needed like 2 candles to force that to reverse. If it really struggles to reverse, like right here, this is not a V shape, right? Because it struggled. You have so many candles trying to force that to reverse. That would be more of a cup. That would be more of like a trapping pattern. But yeah, it should be very obvious. You should just be able to zoom out and really see it. And then at the time, same thing. You should be zoomed out, and it should become very obvious if it's reversing off of like 1 to 3 candles, 1 to 5 candles, whatever it may be. If it's getting a ton of delta for the reversal, if it's getting like block trades or absorption or whatever, right? If it looks like it has all those aggressive signs that you would see in order flow, then it's probably more of a V shape. If it has more of the passive signs, more of the responsive signs, then it's more of a cupping, trapping pattern. But the easiest way to look at it would just be the number of candles. If it reverses in only a couple of candles, it's probably pretty aggressive. The statements are starting to come out from Trump, and he's doing a press conference in like 20 minutes. FOMC starts at 2 p.m., so that'd be, yeah, like 3.5 hours. The real thing that people watch is the press conference. That's at 2:30. So about 4 hours. Recently, the FOMC has been pretty lackluster, and the press conference has been what's actually moving it. We're hanging out here a little too long. We should be rotating back. Very aggressive rotations, by the way. We're rotating in 1 candle. We do not want to see it stay above 602 if you want to rotate. If it rotates above if it breaks rotation, holding above 602, POC value high. But yeah, very aggressive here for a rotation. Momentum is very strong on the 1 minute. How about the 5? Just getting started on the 5, so it does have room to climb here. Trying to break this range we've been stuck in for quite some time. 30-minute pivot as well. So this is one of those pivots that the candle itself is playing out the pivot. So this candle, I didn't see it at the time, but if I had to guess, it was probably turning blue somewhere around here. So it turned blue to put in that indicator that it wants to put in a pivot, but then by itself, it basically used the pivot and pushed up. Unlike this candle where it puts in the pivot and then it takes a few candles. So sometimes they do that. You got to watch out for that. Yeah, 15-minute did it as well. And then there's the 5-minute. Yeah, so exactly what I said. It started putting in the pivot in the first 5 minutes of the candle. Absorption usually plays out as a V pattern. Not always. So there's like two cases, right? So absorption, if it plays out as a V pattern, that's more of a squeeze. So if you have a ton of contracts being absorbed and then it gets very aggressive, it's because they're squeezing out those contracts. But it doesn't have to squeeze every time. It really depends on how much delta is really getting stuck. And like where it is. Like if it's being completely absorbed after like a big move down and it's like low of day, then yes, they can get squeezed back to the high of day or whatever, right? But if it's just like a random absorption around like VWAP or something, it's probably not going to squeeze. Rotating back down to 86 here, as long as it stays below that 602. These rotations are very fast. Like I said, they're like one candle. And there you go. There's another one candle rotation. So 85 to 98. It's about a 15-point rotation. It's not too bad. All right, here's that other rotation. I think this is like the third or fourth one. So it has to hold above 80 here, then it goes right back to 900. Or sorry, 600. 900 would be a hell of a move. Well, you obviously care about your trades, but you shouldn't care to the extent where like you're getting pissed off all the time. And that just comes down to like understanding. It goes back to the poker analogy that I make all the time. You just need to understand that you're just going to lose. Like you're gonna have like a perfect trade that you're just gonna lose sometimes. That is just how trading works. It's like in poker when you have like a really good starting hand, right? Pocket aces, pocket kings, whatever, and you still somehow lose. It doesn't mean you should never play that again. It just means you're going to lose sometimes. That's just how it works. I think the faster you come to terms with that and you understand that that's how trading works, the less you'll have that like going on tilt and just ruining your account in like 1 or 2 days, right? Yeah, it's literally just probabilities, exactly. People who are obsessed with win rates typically have the lowest win rates, funny enough. Yeah, exactly. Another analogy is like baseball, right? Like, I don't even watch baseball anymore. What's like a normal batting average? Like a quarter, point 0.3 or whatever? Has it gotten better or worse recently? Yeah, like a quarter exactly. It's like they're like a professional at the peak of their game and they're still only getting a hit a quarter of their time or whatever, right? Getting a little aggressive down here. It's not showing the sign of a rotation just yet. Staying below that 80 MA. Okay, now starting to see a little bit of a sign of a rotation. They need to stay above that 80 here. It's hard to see, but there is purple shading there as well. So they're trying to bottom it out on that 80. Yeah, but that doesn't even make sense because like if people could get algos like that and if trading was easy, it wouldn't be easy. It's like a paradox, right? Like if we all could trade like that and just easily make money, then it would not work. It wouldn't be, it would break itself, is what I'm saying. No, I'm not streaming the Trump stuff. I'm streaming the FOMC later today. So far, this rotation's getting a little bit of resistance on the way up. This is the start of the G7 press conference. The bots are just taking over. Liquidity is also being pulled. You can see there's no liquidity, so it's easy to move. Getting exhausted on that move down. Keep it on a 30-minute close. It's pretty early, but it will have single prints going back to 77 if it closes like that. We are starting to push that lower tail. That overnight low goes back down to 42. Well, Ethan, if you did that, it would basically just it's still being absorbed. You're basically just entering during the absorption. That's basically what's happening there. There wasn't like a break of the absorption. It's still just being absorbed. So you would need a particular trade setup or like a pattern in that case. Oil's ripping. Let me take a look. Yeah, back to 80. It's because Trump said if the deal fails, it could restart the conflict. The market is reacting to a hypothetical, which is basically the market as a whole. If the Holy Grail existed, there'd be no market. Exactly. Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. You guys just have to accept, like, if you're getting into this career, like, if you're getting into trading, it's just not easy. Like, if you're looking for something easy, you're in the wrong place. It's never going to get easy either. Like, it's going to get easier. It's definitely going to become easier, but it's not going to get easy where it's just like super simple, really easy trades every single day. There's like no risk to it. That's just not how it works. If you're looking for something like that, like I said, you're just in the wrong career. You're in the wrong place. Still holding below VWAP here, so it's a very aggressive bounce off the low there because that move was just an exaggeration. But they are staying below VWAP, below the 24 as well. Notice where they are though. They're trying to protect that 30-minute candle, closing in 4 minutes. You are still failing to rotate here. It should have been back into that value area, back to like 85. Looking for that rotation back to 600. I think it came down a little bit. Let me double check here. No, it's still at 600. Yeah, so it's still trying to look for that 600 rotation, but obviously it's not happening right now. You are still respecting the EMAs, which you should not be doing if you're rotating. You're staying below that 24 EMA here. Zero prints every now and then. They're not very common. But yeah, there are some zero prints every now and then that get filled in. They're kind of like singles. Not usually, Scott. Usually it's just going to give you slippage. So it's going to take your order, like your stop or whatever. If there's like a headline or a block trade, you're just going to get slippage usually. Very rarely it will like reject the order and you'll have to like manually close it. But that's not like a common thing. So like I said, you're staying below the EMAs here, which you should not be doing in a rotation. Rotation, you should be ignoring trends, ignoring EMAs, ignoring VWAP for the most part. So the fact that we're staying below these, we are not rotating, we are breaking that rotation. Yeah, reminder guys, if you guys are new here, I always stream the FOMC. So I will be back at 2 p.m. after we end the morning stream. We're still streaming for a little bit here in the morning. But once we end the morning, we're going to come back for the FOMC at 2 o'clock. It's going to be interesting to see how he handles the reporters. Because I think Powell, love the guy or hate the guy, he did a good job with the reporters during the press conference. We'll see how Warsh does. Yeah, what color tie? They gotta change all the bets now. What color tie he wears, and then Hal was always known for saying like 2 different things. We'll see if Warsh falls into these patterns. He should throw the betting markets for a loop and just not even wear ties. Then it's going to be like what color shirt he wears. SpaceX still selling. Back down to 188. EOC around 173 on SpaceX, so coming down here. Where is the anchored VWAP? Oh, it's right here. Okay. Sorry, I'm blind. SpaceX, VWAP, around 180. Is he no longer a trillionaire? I have no idea. I don't care about stuff like that. I learned not to care about shit like that very early on in trading. I used to be one of those people that would constantly look at market cap, and I thought it actually mattered. And then I started seeing the tech companies just go absolutely crazy and realized that market cap means literally nothing. It's just a metric for people that are obsessed with it and for headlines, right? Keep an eye on these VWAPs here. 85 to 88, and then around 430, 440. The press needs something to talk about. Yeah, no, that's literally all it is. Like, it's just a number that people like to use for headlines and whatnot. Don't get me wrong. Like back back in the day, it used to matter. Like market cap actually used to mean something. It doesn't really mean anything nowadays when the growth companies are so heavily valued based on future predictions. The forward pricing model, basically, because we are so heavily forward priced, we're not priced on like what these companies are valued at like at the moment. The market cap doesn't really mean anything. It's just showing you what that company is worth based on how far forward they're predicting. It's like I was saying yesterday with the funny comparison to like Scrooge McDuck. Like people think about market cap, they think about Elon being a trillionaire, they think about Scrooge diving into a room full of gold coins. Like they think there's just money lying around places, trillions of dollars in a bank, or you know what I mean. People just don't understand money. They think Elon has a bunker full of dollars and gold coins. You saw this a lot, and I used to go into this rant all the time during the AI bubble with Nvidia just constantly skyrocketing and the market cap was just going insane. And people would constantly come in chat bitching about the market cap and like, why is Nvidia valued at XYZ? It doesn't even make XYZ money. You know what I mean? It's just that sort of thing. Like people just don't understand that that number just doesn't mean what they think it means. It's the same exact thing that I talk about. Keep it on VWAP here, by the way. It's the same exact thing I talk about with like emotions, politics, any outside force. They're allowing these like just random outside things that should not impact their trading. They're allowing it to impact their trading. Like, oh, I'm not going to buy Nvidia here because the market cap is too high and it doesn't make any sense. It shouldn't be here. And then guess what? It continues to go up. Like, imagine if people thought about that on SanDisk. This company literally makes no sense. And it's still going up. Like, if people had that market cap mentality, we're like, oh, it shouldn't be worth this amount of money, so I'm not going to trade it. Okay, good luck with that. It went from $50 to $2,000. Or it's like whatever country SanDisk is made in. Like, oh, I don't like that country, so I'm not going to trade SanDisk. Just like random shit like that. People just need to take all that outside bullshit out of their trading. And I promise you, you'll be a better trader. Failing VWAP here. Which, by the way, if we fail VWAP, we are still failing to rotate. Because it should be going up to 600 quite easily. It's not going up to 600 quite easily. It's struggling, right? Yeah, I think it's definitely like an age thing. I think as you get older, you get more intertwined, like you get more glued to like these outside forces, these ideas of how the world should work and how the market should work. And they don't adapt to how the market works today. Like even since COVID, the market has changed, right? In the last 5-6 years, the market has changed. So yes, that market cap shit might have worked back in the day. It doesn't work anymore. I think younger people are more fluid in that sense when it comes to trading. They do adapt to the new environments a bit better. Still trying to protect these EMAs here. Good morning, DMG. But yeah, long story short, just focus on your trading. Focus on your playbook, focus on your journal, focus on your setups. What's working, what isn't working. Cut out all the bullshit. Morning. I'm not sure, Flory. I haven't tried to log into it recently. Unless there's any major headlines, I'm assuming the market's going to be chopping around for the next couple of hours. FOMC at 2, press conference at 2:30. Trying to get back into that rotation here, but you're being held down by VWAP. All right, guys, we will be back in a couple hours. I will be streaming for the afternoon. We're at 87 likes. If you guys want to get that to 100, I'll do an Apex account giveaway before we go. One more thing before we go. If you guys watched that settings video for Addis, that code is still live. If you do want to get Addis for an annual or lifetime plan, you can use Brew10 for a 10% off. It expires in like a couple of weeks. If you do purchase it, you get a bonus of Discord, so annual gets 1 month, a lifetime gets 3 months. And Apex is still doing a 90% off sale. We're not at the end of the month yet, but just a reminder for the raffle. If you guys do use the code, just hold on to all those receipts until probably like next week or so. I'll start getting those from you on the last week of the month, and I'll enter you guys in our monthly raffle for the Discord access and tutoring prizes as well. But yeah, 90% off with code BREW. All right, we're over 100 likes. Let me go ahead and get that giveaway ready. We'll call it a stream after that, and then we will come back for the FOMC. Okay, if you have not participated in a giveaway before, what we do is you just pick a random number between 1 and 50. Just pick one number. If you tie with somebody else, don't worry about it. We'll do a tiebreaker. Just pick one number between 1 and 50. Make sure to press that live button on the stream so you do not have a large delay. Just double check the clock right here. This is the live time. If you have more than like a 10-second delay, you're probably not caught up to the live time. You should only have like a 5 to 10-second delay most of the time. Yeah, just pick one number between 1 and 50. Have your email ready. I do have to verify your email to send you the promo code. If you do win, I'm going to give you a code. You sign up for an Apex account like you normally would. You just put that code in. It gives you the account for free. If I do pull your number, just let me know in chat. I will double check. Make sure you only picked one number, that sort of thing. I'll give you guys another minute or so. Hey, Doctor, you said which email do we email for the extended Addis trial? It's right here. I'll post it in chat. If you would like a trial, just sign up for the normal one with that link down below in the description. And then right after you sign up, just email me with whatever email you signed up with. And I'll push that to their team and they'll get it extended. Yeah, if you guys are new here, I do stream every single FOMC. Not the minutes anymore. I used to stream the minutes, but they're so damn boring. I don't stream them anymore. But the regular FOMC, we do an afternoon stream. So I'll come back at 2 p.m. and we're going to stream until the press conference is over. Typically that's like 3:30. We don't know though. We'll see how Warsh is. It might be faster, it might be slower. All right, last chance. Pick a number between 1 and 50. Just pick one number. I'll give you 10 more seconds. Press that live button. Have your email ready. All right, good luck, guys. If I pull your number, just let me know in chat. I'll double check. Last number I see is from BS. It was 23. Do we have a 23? We do. Adrian. I think it is just you, Adrian. Yeah, I believe it was just you, Adrian. I think you are good to go. Let me see. Let me do one last check. Yeah, just you. All right, let me go ahead and get my email for you. There's my email, Adrian. Just send me an email with your YouTube name. I'm going to send you a random number. Just type that random number in chat. That's just how I confirm that it's you. And then I will send you the promo code. If you guys are heading out, if you want to come back, I will be streaming in a couple of hours. I will be streaming at 2 p.m. Eastern. It is 11:30 right now. How do you get an extended Addis trial? So I have a student trial for my members. So if you sign up with that link down below in the description, right after you sign up, just send me an email to my admin email, and then just let me know whatever email you signed up with. And I'll send it over to their team. They give you an extended trial. You sent it, Adrian? Let me take a look. I do not see it, Adrian. Did you send it to my normal email? I'm going to start disqualifying you guys if you send it to my normal email because you guys keep doing that. Let me see. Happening far too often. You did not send it to my normal email. I don't see your email, Adrian. Just go ahead and resend it to the giveaway email. Okay, there it is. There it is. It took a little while to load. Thank you for sending it to the right email. Here we go. Random number. Just type that random number in chat and you are good to go. No, you're good, Adrian. I thought you sent it to the regular one. We've had that happen a couple times already. How long is the extended trial? It's 30 days, I believe. If you guys, I see you, Adrian. If you guys do use the extended trial, I will say that by the time that trial's done, if you try to use that code, it's not going to work. So if you do like Addis during the trial and you want to use that Brew10 code, you have to use that within the next like 2 or 3 weeks, I think. If you wait the whole month, it's going to be expired. I forgot the exact date. I think it expires on, I want to say the 1st or 2nd week of July. Yeah, be careful with that. But all right, guys, I will be back in a couple hours. If you guys are in Discord, I'll stream in there for the rest of the day as well. If you're not in Discord, I'll see you guys at 2 p.m. Peace, everybody.